So here we go, this is the SUPboarder review for the Naish Nalu 10-foot Pro Performance Longboard. Most of you out there have heard from Naish, definitely one of the big players out in the SUP world, make very good performance surf and race SUPs and also windsurf equipment. The specifications for this board, 10 foot long, 28.5 inches wide, 4 inches thick. The volume of the board is 130 litres. It only weighs 8.5 kilograms and it retails at £1,899. This board comes with a 5-fin box setup, so you can run it as a quad or a thruster or a 2+1 if you want to. The board materials are EPS foam core, then wrapped in a high density PVC wrap, carbon Kevlar deck on the top, and then finished off with a glass outer shell. And this board is designed to tick that longboard surfing box. Moving on to the SUPboard impressions away from the catalogue bump. Not gonna lie, straight away, as you can probably tell, I like this board. So we're going to get on with the rest of the view in a professional manner if we can, please. Definitely the first thing you notice when you see and pick this board up is the weight of it. At 8.5 kilograms when we weighed this one, it isn't a very heavy board, especially for being 10 foot long. It has the outstanding Naish finish as we've had when we reviewed all the Naish boards. You would find there's no blemishes, paint marks, runny glue marks for the deck pad. It's all perfectly finished. The deck pad is really grippy, nice and large, right to the edge of the board, because when you're longboarding you are going to be moving your feet around a lot. Okay, you're going to be moving up and down the board, but you're also going to be trimming your feet on the left and right of the board as well. At the back of the board it has a nice EVA kicker at the tail, which you will be using because it is a performance longboard and you will be having your foot right against that kicker. Comfy carry handle, pressure valve as standard. This board is the full carbon version and it is only available in the full carbon version. And because of that, Naish have put all of their R&D and their surfing background into this board, and you really can see it and feel it on the water. Have a look at the outline shape. It has your general longboard shape that you'd expect. Nice rounded nose, relatively parallel sort of midsection to the board, coming into a pulled in tail, and this board is actually finished off with a back tail, which actually works really well alongside the quad fin setup. Personally, I haven't used that many back tails for myself. Be very interesting to see what the board felt like if it had a rounded pin or a different sort of tail, but the back tail does seem to work well with this board setup. Moving on to the thickness of the board, so this board is only 4 inches thick, which is not very thick at all. It has a slightly domed deck, so the 4 inches thick is in the mid section of the board, so it's not as flat deck as some boards in the market. The advantage of having a domed deck is they can bring the rails right down in volume, creating a better rail that will produce you more grip and drive on the wave. As you move your hands down the rail towards the back of the board, you will realise that the board is incredibly thin at the tail, at the rail section, which is again where that performance surfing comes in, which is why if you're looking at this board of more of a beginner, intermediate, you might find, especially if you're standing around the back area when you're waiting for waves, the board does have a slightly sinkier feel to it, which you'd expect for the volume in the tail, because the tail, everything around this board is designed for catching a wave and having a really good performance feel on the wave. The rocker line on this board is perfect, and it has definitely helped me make some maneuvers where I've been a bit off with my feet. Definitely coming down the waves, the nose rocker will pull you out and let you keep riding quite happily. It has a relatively flat midsection to the board with a nice healthy amount of tail kick at the back there, which again is there to help you turn and crank the board and finish off those tight turns, being a longer board. Right, if we turn the board over, look, that's an idea how light it is. One hand, pick this board up. 10 foot by 28.5. It's still a biggish board, but it is super light. So if we look at the bottom shape here, you can see that rock line I was saying, a nice healthy nose kick through to a slight flat section in the mid section here, and then a nice healthy amount of tail kick there too. Naish haven't done anything super fancy with the bottom shape. They've kept it quite traditional and what you'd sort of expect on a board like this. Up at the nose, the board is pretty flat across that section, and then moving further back, the board stays still pretty flat, but it starts to go to a very slight V in the center. Moving back just about a meter in front of the fins, the V gets a little bit bigger, but it's still just a nice small amount of V in general. Back towards the front of the fins, The V again, a little bit more, but it's nothing massive, nothing out of the ordinary. Because of this simple, more traditional bottom shape, a lot of surfers who have come from a good surfing background or are good level surfers already will be able to get a lot out of this board straight away as soon as they stand on it. It's a very easy board to get on and just ride straight away, very plug and play. So the fin setup with this board, this comes as standard with quads, and the fins are very, very well finished, very nice, they look really good. Bamboo internal core, honeycomb inside that, finished off with a glass outer shell, and they got sprayed with a Naish logoing. Look fantastic, very well finished. You could also run it as a 2+1, so you could keep your side fins in, take the back ones out and put a bigger US box in there, or you could run it as a single fin if you wanted to have a more of a traditional drawn out turning board. Looking at the performance of the board, real performance longboard SUPs have only really started hitting the mainstream probably in the last year and a half. Maybe the Fanatic Stylemaster was like the first, then there was a Sonova Style, that's another one we tested, and then this is the Nalu 10-foot Pro. This board really does answer all of those questions you might have about longboard surfing. It ticks all those boxes you might want to have about longboard surfing, and it really does do it all very, very well. It catches waves incredibly easy, it has a huge amount of glide to it. It's still relatively wide in longboard terms, as in this is 28.5 wide, so you still could get an average sort of intermediate paddler can paddle this board, but still it has enough width for the advanced paddler to really sort of move their feet around and get loads out of this board and have a lot of fun on the smaller days. Works really well from knee high up to about head high. We didn't have it any bigger than that, but probably, to be honest, with the rail shape and the fin setup in the quad setup, it could quite easily handle a bigger wave. And definitely if you're a bigger rider and you've got a bit more weight, maybe in the sort of 85 to 90 kilograms, you're going to be able to hold this board down on a bigger wave face for sure. This board can definitely turn very quickly and aggressively if you get your footwork right on the back of the tail kicker. It can easily turn faster than some more high performance 8.5s easily on the market. Especially with the quad setup, the smaller fins at the back, it really pivots around the small fins, and you can even do little slashes and stuff like that. Cutbacks as well, it's a nice flowing outline shape to the board, so it keeps its speed and glide again, so you can be a little bit clumsy with your cutbacks, or you can be really good at your cutbacks and you'll get a lot out of this board. So it is a board that a good SUP surfer or longboard surfer or longboard prone surfer could come into SUP surfing on, or it could be a board where you're more of an intermediate surfer and you want to try a bit more sort of flowing longboard style stuff. Then this board really will help you and get a lot out of every wave. It is an absolute belter on the wave, and we really are happy with it.
My precious.
For those hardcore traditional longboarders out there, definitely use it with that US center box fin in the back there. It will give you that more of a classic longboard style. But really this board is tuned up for a performance longboard feel. It works really well with the quads and the bat tail, and it really is designed for a slightly more aggressive longboard approach to riding. Are we going to give the Nalu 10-foot Pro any negatives or downsides? The board is absolutely perfect and I cannot fault it. The price, it's a little bit expensive, but for the board it's definitely worth it without a doubt, so we'll put the value for money in there as well. But it'd be nice if, for the guys out there who've got the not so bigger pockets, to have this board in a slightly different construction that would offer the rider at the sort of £1,200 price point a board they could get on. It's not really a negative to the board, to be honest. It's just if you really want a good longboard performance board, you're going to have to put your hand in your pocket and pay the £1,900 price tag. So the overall SUPboarder verdict with the SUPboarder team is we love it, and I personally adore it. I don't want to give it back. Rider weight, it's going to suit probably 60 kilograms up to about maybe 90 kilos if you're good on your footwork and a bit more of an advanced rider, but it's really going to suit the mid-weight riders of 65 to 85 kilograms. A spot on board for that. Very easy to use, an exceptionally good board in the surf, does everything you want it to do. As far as the star rating is concerned, we've talked about this several times. It's either going to be 4.5 stars or 5 stars. just 4.5, because the price tag for some people might be a bit much, but it's definitely worth the price if you can put your hand in your pocket. An outstanding board from Naish, the Nalu 10-foot Carbon Pro Performance Longboard. So there you go guys, hope you found that board review interesting and informative. Remember, if you want to find out more about this board and the boards we compare it to, like the Sonova Style, the Fanatic Style Master, the Starboard Nut, etc., check out the SUPboarder Pro version of this video. And until next time, we'll see you on SUPboarder Mag or on YouTube.